Let's look at some worded problems for simultaneous equations. So question 1, find two numbers whose sum is 17 and whose difference is 23. We know we're looking for two numbers that sum to 17. So if we let x be the first number and y be the second number, then we know that x plus y equals 17. That's equation 1. And whose difference is 23. So now, assuming x is the bigger number, that means x minus y equals 23. And that's our second equation. Now, we can solve this using the substitution method. So let's rearrange second equation to make x the subject. So x minus y equals 23. And if we add y to both sides, we'll get x equals 23 plus y. Okay, let's call this equation 3. Now we can sub equation 3 into 1. So x plus y equals 17. Now this x, we can replace it with this 23 plus y. So this equation becomes 23 plus y equals 17, which is 23 plus 2y equals 17. Now if we minus 23 from both sides, we'll have 2y equals 17 minus 23, which is just negative 6. And now if we divide both sides by 2, y equals negative 3. Okay, so now we need to solve for x. So we can sub y equals negative 3 back into equation 3. So x equals 23 plus y was our third equation. So x equals 23 plus negative 3. Now plus minus equals minus, so x equals 23 minus 3 and x equals 20. Okay, we can do a quick check if this answer is correct. So let's check equation 1. X plus y should equal 17. Well, our x is 20 and our y is negative 3. Plus and minus equals minus, so 20 minus 3 is 17. Good, that works. Let's check equation 2. X minus y should equal 23. Our x is 20 and y is negative 3. Minus minus simplifies to plus. So 20 plus 3 is 23. So that works also. So our two numbers which add to 17 and whose difference is 23 are 20 and negative 3. Okay, so we've done that. Let's look at question 2. So Dave bought 40 pens and erasers. If each eraser cost 80 cents, each pen cost $2.20, and his total cost came to $51.60, how many pens and erasers did he buy? Well, okay, so what are our two unknowns? It's the number of pens and number of erasers. So we can let P be the number of pens bought and E be the number of erasers bought. So this is always the first step, identifying what are the two unknowns that we are trying to find. And now we need to form the two equations. So we know that Dave bought 40 pens and erasers altogether. So that means P plus E equals 40. So that's our first equation. And we also know that each eraser cost 80 cents and each pen cost $2.20, and the total cost came to $51.60. Okay, so let's turn that into an equation. Now, if you think about it, if he bought one pen, he would pay $2.20 times 1. If he bought 2 pens, he would pay $2.20 2 times, which is $4.40. If he bought 3 pens, he would pay that 3 times, which is $6.60. So if he bought P amount of pens, he would pay $2.20 P number of times. So his total cost would be $2.20 times P. Same thing with the erasers. If he's bought E number of erasers, he's going to pay 80 cents times E in total for E number of erasers that he bought. So the second equation is $2.20 times P plus 0.8 times E will give us the total cost of the pens and the erasers bought, and we're told that this equals $51.60. So that's our second equation. Alright, so these are our two equations. Okay, so let's try solving this using the elimination method. So for this, we have to make one of the variables, either P or E, have the same coefficient. That's the number before the variable. So first, let's multiply equation 2 by 100 to get rid of all the decimals. So that gives us 220p. We can remove the dollar signs from the equations. Plus 80e equals 5,160. Let's call this equation 2a. So now our two equations become P plus E equals 40 and 220p plus 80e equals 5,160. Now let's multiply equation 1 by 80, and what this will do is make E have the same coefficient of 80. So equation 1 now becomes 80p plus 80e equals 3,200. And equation 1 now is P plus E equals 40. So now we can make both the equations have the same coefficient by multiplying 1 by 80, which is 80p plus 80e equals 3,200. And that's equation 1a. So now we have, writing 2a and 1a together, 220p plus 80e equals 5,160, and 80p plus 80e equals 3,200. Now we can get rid of e by minusing both the equations. So 220p minus 80p is 140p. 80e minus 80e just goes away, that's 0. E equals 1960. So if we divide both sides by 140, that gives us p equals 14. Now if we sub p equals 14 into equation 1, and if we minus 14 on both sides, so p plus e should equal 40. So that's 14 plus 26. Yes, that equals 40. And 2.20 times p, which is 14, plus 0.80 times e, which is 26, should equal 51.60. And that does. Okay, that's check 2. So to answer this, we can say Dave bought 14 pens and 26 erasers. Question 3. If the total perimeter of Maya's rectangular property is 78 meters and the length is 3 meters longer than the width, what is the area of Maya's property? Okay, so let's draw this first. So she's got a rectangular property which has a perimeter of 78 meters and the length is 3 meters longer than the width. So if we label it like that, x is the width and y is the length of the property. So remember, step 1, we always have to define what the two variables represent. Now, we know that the perimeter is 78 meters. And we can get the perimeter of a rectangle by doing 2 times the width plus 2 times the length. So 2x plus 2y equals 78. That's our first equation. And we're also told that the length is 3 meters longer than the width. So the length, which is y, equals 3 meters longer than the width. That means x, the width, plus 3. So that's our second equation. So let's use substitution method to solve this, as we are already told what y equals. So we can just sub 2 into 1. So 2x plus 2y equals 78. That will become 2x plus 2. Now this y we can replace with what it is, which is x plus 3. And dividing by 4 on both sides, you get x equals plus 2 times 21 equals, so that's 36 plus 42, that's 78, that works out. And the second is 21 should equal 18 plus 3, and yeah, that's correct too. So now we can use this to find the area of Myers property. So the area for a rectangle is length times width, which is going to be 21 times 18, which is 378 meters squared. So now we can answer the question, which is asking what is the area of Myers property. So we can say that the area of Myers property is 378 meters squared. Okay, that's done. So we can check that off. Let's look at question 4. So if we let x be the number of kilometers jogged on day 1 and y be number of kilometers jogged on day 2, then we can look at putting two equations together. So we know that he jogs 1.5 times more distance on day 2 than he does on day 1. So y, which is the distance covered on day 2, is going to be 1.5 times more than day 1. So that's our equation 1. And we can get the second equation from this information. It's that he jogs 65 kilometers in total. So x plus y equals 65. Okay, so again in this one, equation 1 already tells us what y equals. So we can use the substitution method. So sub 1 into 2, and we get x plus, so it's x plus y equals 65. So that becomes x plus, and we can replace the y with 1.5x equals 65. That's 2.5x equals 65. Dividing both sides by 2.5 gives us x equals 26. And now, so from here, if we sub x equals 26 into, so y equals 1.5 times x, so just y equals 1.5 times 26. That gives us 39. Let's check that both our equations work. Yep, that works. And equation 2, 26 plus 39 should equal 65, which it does. You can answer the question now. Day 1, Dylan jogs 26 kilometers. Day 2, Dylan jogs 39 kilometers. Question 5. The area of the drawn triangle is 14 meters squared, and the area of the rectangle is 56 meters squared. Find the perimeters of the triangle and the rectangle. Okay, so we know, let's write down what the area of each shape is. So for the triangle, we know the area is half base times height, which in this case is going to be half times y times x, and the area of the rectangle is length times width, which in this case is going to be y plus 4 times x. Okay, so to form the equation, we're told that the area of the triangle is 14 meters squared. So that means its area, which is half x times y, equals 14. That's our first equation. And we're also told the area of the rectangle is 56 meters squared, which means x times y plus 4 equals 56. And that's our second equation. Let's rearrange 1 to make x the subject. So we know half x times y equals 14. If we multiply both sides by 2, we will get x times y equals 28. Then if we divide by y on both sides, we'll get x equals 28 over y. Now let's sub this into equation 2. X times y plus 4 equals 56. Then we can replace this x with 28 over y times y plus 4 equals 56. If I multiply both sides by y now to get rid of the denominator, that gives us 28y plus 4 equals 56y. Let's take this up here. 28y plus 4 equals 56y. Expanding the brackets, we get 28y plus 112 equals 56y. If we minus 28y from both sides, so 56y. Now we've got y on both sides, so I want to get rid of this y, so I'll minus 28y from both sides, and that gives us 112 equals 28y. Now dividing by 28 on both sides, gives us y equals 4. Now we can sub y equals 4 into equation 3. So where we had x equals 28 divided by y, so x equals 28 divided by 4, which is 7. So let's first check that these values are correct. So equation 1 was half times x, which is 7, times y, which is 4, should equal 14, which it does. And the second equation was x, which is 7, times y plus 4, which is 4 plus 4, should equal 56, which it does. Okay, now the question is asking us to find the perimeters of the triangle and the rectangle. So for the rectangle, the perimeter is 2 times length plus 2 times width, which is going to be 2 times y plus 4 plus 2 times x, and that is 2 times 4 plus 4 plus 2 times our x value is 7. That comes out to be 2 times 8, which is 16, plus 2 times 7, which is 14. That's 30 meters. Carrying on, for the triangle, if I redraw it here, this is y. We know that This is x. And if we label this s, is going to be y plus 2 times s. Now we know that y is 4. Now to get s, we know that this is a right angle triangle, and this is 2, half of y. And this inside bit is x, which is 7. So we can use Pythagoras to get s. S squared will equal 7 squared plus 2 squared, which is 49 plus 4. So s equals square root 53. So our parameter, which is going to be y plus 2 times s, will be 4 plus 2 times square root of 53. Now you can leave it in this third form, or it's 2 times 7.28, and that's going to be So now to answer the question, the parameters of triangle and the rectangle, we can say perimeter of square is 30 meters and perimeter of triangle is 18.56 meters.